Cabo Azul will probably be the least kid-friendly of any of the hotels that are down there.
Yeah.
Because most of the time you see adults. But last trip we were down there in July, we took my brother, his 3 kids, his wife, and there were kids everywhere. Main pool, the kids pool, and they had an absolute blast.
I didn't realize that Cabo Azul was so kid-friendly.
It is, and it's just stuff you learn throughout the years. And some people say, "Why? I like Mexican food, but my kids don't like it." What's incredible about Baja, all of Baja now, and let alone Cabo, is their food is second to none now. I mean, the culinary adventure you can have down there, between culinary, wine, tequila, it is second to none. And we find ourselves sometimes going down there and not having one Mexican dish at all. You got these world-renowned chefs that are coming from everywhere, and just doing incredible things with meals the kids, you had your chicken fingers, your mac and cheese, your hamburgers, your pizzas, all the stuff you would get at home, you can have there as well. It's not just Mexican food.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of going down for your wedding a couple years ago, and your reception was at Flora Farms, and that place was just incredible.
Yes.
How did you find that place, and tell us a little bit about that, because I know a lot of people have not experienced Flora Farms yet.
Flora Farms is absolutely incredible. If I were to take a person who's never been down there before, close their eyes, snap my fingers, and stick them right in the middle of Flora Farms and say, "Okay, tell me where you're at." I would bet all the money in the world you would never guess you're in Mexico. You guess maybe Santa Barbara, maybe somewhere in Napa, but you would never guess. And I think you can attest that too, Jim.
Yeah.
I don't think you would ever guess that you're in Mexico, let alone you're in the hills of San Jose del Cabo. But it's a really cool organic farm. Everything's farm to table there, and it's funny. The first time my wife had gone there first. I didn't even know about it at the time, and she had told me about it. But she went there with a group of her friends, and they take a taxi there. I think they were staying at Cabo Azul, and the taxi takes you from the hotel, and you go down by close to the marina, and then all of a sudden you get on a dirt road.
Yeah.
And your first instinct is, "Oh my God, where's this taxi guy taking me?" we just got into a dirt road.
Yeah.
And I remember she was telling me the story. One of her friends kept on telling the taxi driver, "Senor, stop! Where are we going? And the taxi guy says, "We're going to Flora Farms. That's where you wanted to go."
Yeah.
So you come up over the rise of the mountain, and you come into the valley, and boom, there's Flora Farms.
Yeah.
And so I tell people who go there for the first time, I say, if you take a taxi there from the hotel, don't be worried. They're taking you to the farm. You're fine.
Yeah.
It's part of the adventure. But everything's farm to table there. And then when Michelle first introduced us to it, come to find out that her uncle Bob, one of the ladies who's in charge of all the parties that are there, weddings, corporate functions, is a girl named Erica. And Erica used to work for her uncle, and parties that she would throw for us down there at the end to commemorate us winning the race and just having a great time. So she would have us our own little section of the farm that we would have all of our guests, and it was just a really cool deal. You had these specialty drinks that are made from fruits and vegetables straight off the frickin' farm. Like I said, it's all organic. They make incredible pizzas. Like I said, I don't think I've had a Mexican meal at the farm ever.
Yeah.
But the food is just incredible. So after going there a couple times, Michelle and I talked to them, after we got engaged, like where we want to have our wedding, and we're like, well, let's see if we could. We know how important and special Baja is to us and is to our families. Let's see if we can pull this off and do it at Flora Farms. How cool would that be? And so we did a nice little intimate wedding, and we have to actually thank Adam Levine, who we don't know, but he's the one that built. I don't know if you knew this one or not, Jim, but he's the one that built that little farmhouse, that brick farmhouse that we actually had the reception at.
I did not know that.
They did that. His wedding was there, and they had that built, and that's where we had the reception. Was right there. And it's an absolute gorgeous setting in the way they do stuff. Like I said, it's so unlike being in anywhere else. It really is. So it was a no-brainer for us to want to do the wedding there. We had a close knit group of friends like yourself and your wife, and it was just a really cool party. And we go back every single year, actually multiple times a year, and then we bring our kids back so the kids can see where we got married, have them experience it, and they love going to the farm. They have turtles there. The kids feed the turtles. They feed the ducks. They have playground for the kids that are there. Sandbox swings. It's awesome.
Yeah, I just loved the ceremony itself was incredible, but when we rolled out to dinner, they had that long dinner table where just everybody was sitting at the same table for dinner. That was amazing. And then I just remember, I don't know if it was you or Michelle going, "Oh, well, wait till later. We have a special surprise for you." And so we're, drinking and dancing and having a good time. Like, what's that surprise you were talking about? And they come out with these pizzas. And you're so right. The pizzas there were incredible. And I know everybody plowed through the pizza at the end of the night.
Oh, Don! I mean, they had the bacon pizzas that were just phenomenal. It's like, holy cow! of course, the wine and alcohol, the wine and cocktails led to a nice midnight snack and wanting to devour those pizzas. But it's just rad. It really is.
Yeah, it always seems like these shows turn into a commercial for people's favorite places down there, but I think the important thing to note is that there's just so many incredible places to have different types of activities, whether it's intimate or personal, or if it's just big, events, or like you said, this wedding and things like that. There's so many wonderful places to go in Baja. The list is probably too long to talk about what's happening down there.
It is. And it's so accessible. I mean, other than you have to have your passport because you're going into another country. It's so accessible. I mean, I had one of my best friends, Travis, lives near Denver. They have direct flights from Denver to Cabo San Lucas, and I think it's 2.5 hours or 3 hours from Denver. So I mean, the city is growing, and I use Cabo because Cabo, everyone's heard of it, and it's been growing by leaps and bounds. But you also can't forget that the northern parts of it as well, like places like Ensenada, Guadalupe Valley, which you have a lot of interest in over there, and seeing the growth of that place in itself. That place has become, to me, it's almost become a little bit more Americanized in the sense that it's looking like Paso Robles and Napa.
Yeah, the infrastructure in the Valle de Guadalupe, it's like Napa 40 years ago, with all the incredible wineries and food offerings down there. It's really a special place. Ryan, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a bucket list item for Baja? Is there something that you want to go do down there, whether it's with your family or you've never done it before? Now that I think about it.
Actually, yeah, and it may not involve the kids as much, but I've always wanted to, all throughout the years, we talked about Guadalupe Valley, I've always wanted to spend more time there. I haven't spent enough time there. I spent very little, but I have had a chance to experience some phenomenal restaurants that are along the corridor there, and have seen, because the race course used to go right down through the middle of Guadalupe Valley.
Yeah.
And so I've seen how majestic, I've seen how much that's changed. I'd love to do like a wine tour and do just a special trip down there with Michelle and I, and that's been on my list of things to do, and her and I have talked about that as well.
Well, we could probably help point you in the right direction with that bucket list item.
I'm sure you can.
What's great about the Valle, and I tell this to everybody that wants to go down there, is I've been down there a lot. We go almost every other week, myself or my wife or both of us or my partner. Every time, it's just like an off-road adventure. We find something new within that small valle there. You would think that we've seen it all, been to it all, but every time we've discovered something new food, new winery, new people, new whatever, and it just blows me away. That valle just keeps giving and giving. So I would encourage you guys to get down there, hit some dirt roads, because there's something around every corner. I always tell our partners down there, the winery partners, do not pave those roads. I think the dirt is part of the attraction, but they might succumb to some pavement.
I agree. I agree. And you see the same. You see the same thing in Napa and the Paso Robles area too. You see these incredible wineries and incredible places to eat, and they still have you come off the pavement onto a nice little dirt road that takes you into the facility. And there's something cool. There's something that's really cool about that.
Well, you feel like you're on an adventure, even though you just drove off the pavement. And from a toll road down the way.
You absolutely do. Absolutely do. So I remember when I was racing with Mark Miller. Mark would come from Scottsdale area and we would meet in Baja and meet in Ensenada. So he would come when he came down through. He'd come down through like Tecate and then come straight down through Guadalupe Valley into Ensenada. And he would come with a buddy of his, and I kept on seeing this restaurant called La Laja. And so Mark had told me every time Mark and I would get together, it would be like a culinary adventure for us in Baja. I mean, we would very rarely go to a taco stand. We would just try to find places in Ensenada that were kind of off the beaten path a little bit and just great food.
Yeah.
And Mark's like, I found this restaurant. He says, we got to go to it. So I remember, and from Ensenada, it took us about 30 minutes to get there. So we drove there, and it was one of the best meals I have ever had. And this is before the valley started blowing up with the wineries, and they're still sporadic, but before all the food came in, and boy, what an adventure! The wine was off the charts, and just the wine pairings with the food. It was so memorable. I've been there a couple times since.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but we took when we did our Volkswagen race program. We took a lot of the executives from Volkswagen when they came down. We took them over there, and they were just blown away.
Yeah.
They're like, I had no idea that this type of stuff is in Baja.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up. One of our earlier Baja shows, I interviewed Drew Deckman, who's now one of the top chefs in all of Mexico. He's got a great name for himself. He's there in the Valle. And after the interview, he goes, "Are you guys hungry?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're hungry. We've been sitting in your restaurant, and I've eaten there a lot." He knows I've eaten there a lot. He goes, "Well, do you want to go somewhere else?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're kind of curious." Well, he took us to La Laja, and I hadn't been there before. He goes, "In my opinion, this is the best restaurant in all of Mexico." And he calls me and said, "We're on our way," and we got there, and literally there was only two other tables of people there, but man, they really roll out the carpet, and the food offerings they have there are unbelievable, as you mentioned.
It's rad, and then they have their little. Did you walk down to the wine cellar down below? They took us down to the wine cellar as we walking down these stone steps down to the bottom. It was just the whole experience is rad.
Yeah, no, we didn't get a chance to do that. I think maybe they were worried we already had too much wine, but. We did have some of their wine, and they brought it out for Drew, and it was complimentary. He's like, "I'm worried they gave me this. What do they want from me?" But
what do they want to know?
Right. But what's interesting that Drew also talked about is farm to table is such a catchphrase here in the United States. He goes, we laugh at that because we've always been farm to table here. We don't know any other way, so why is it a catchphrase? That's just how we do things. You walk out the doors of the restaurant, and there's our farm. That's where we get all of our produce and our fresh meats and everything. He goes, it's almost laughable that farm to table is a statement. And La Laja is, according to him, the first farm to table if you wanted to classify in the region there. So kind of a neat
I can believe it, and it is amazing because you do taste the difference. I mean, you don't have to be a genius or a food connoisseur to taste the difference. Like it goes back to like Flora Farms. You taste the difference. You do.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew actually told me something else that I thought was really fascinating. He's known for his seafood, and he said, yeah, our seafood is so fresh that he gets a call in the afternoon from the Pongas out on the ocean, and they call him and say, "Hey, look, I've got a 40-pound tuna on the line. Do you want it? Do we bring it in, or do we let it go?" And he literally makes the call right then and there to say, "Yeah, I'll take that tuna." So, I mean, it's been in the water a couple hours before it makes it to his restaurant. And they don't harvest. Really cool. They don't harvest the fish unless he wants it. So it creates that sustainability in the oceans too.
Absolutely. You would think otherwise they would just get it and try to sell it to somebody else and see if they can make a quick buck.
Yeah.
So, but there's something to be said for that. Yeah, that's really cool.
So, Ryan, I know you're gearing up. You got some Baja races coming up here in the near future. What are you guys doing next on the race circuit?
The next one for us is the granddaddy of all for off-road racing. One of the biggest races in the world, the Baja 1000. That's a true adventure. And this year's the 51st running of it. So this year will be a loop race. So we'll start and finish in Ensenada. Last year was a race from Ensenada to La Paz to commemorate the 50th anniversary. Every 3 to 4 years we do the Peninsula run down the peninsula. And but this race in itself is really special. It's a very, very difficult race to finish, and very difficult race to win. And I've been very, very fortunate. I've won it 3 times. And for me, the only thing that matters is because I got the head is and I've experienced that win is we got to win